Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to be doing a classic TV show for you. I'm going to be doing the 1970s television show, Three's Company. And of course stars Jack Ritter, late great John Ritter, Joyce DeWitt, and of course Suzanne Summers. And of course, the first couple of years you had Norman Fell, Andrea Laurie, I believe that's how I was pronouncing the last name. Plus, of course, eventually you had Don Knotts, you had on the show for a while, you also had Richard Klein, and of course, I forgot the other two girls who replaced Suzanne Summers on the show, which I want to get into it on this review. And of course, Three's Company, of course, started in the mid-70s, and at the time, it was one of the more controversial and one of the most talked about television shows, and it lasted for 7 years, from 1976 to about 1983, 84, and then for briefly you had they had two lousy spin-offs. One was The Ropers, and one was Three's a Crowd, which I'm getting ahead of myself. But it was one of the most successful, most popular television shows of all time. Of course, it starts off. The reason why the show was controversial was because of the fact they had two pretty hot women, Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers. And Suzanne Summers was one of the first blonde bombshell on network television in the 70s. You also had, of course, Laurie Anderson. You had, at the end of the 70s, early 80s, of course, you had Heather Thomas. You had Marky Post for the Fall Guy. You had, of course, WKOP in Cincinnati with Laurie Anderson, so you have a couple of bombshells on there. And Suzanne Summers was caught up in the middle of that. And of course, you also had Joyce DeWitt, who also she was kind of hot herself. I was actually more attracted to Joyce DeWitt than was Suzanne Summers. I don't know why, but I was. Maybe because he didn't get the respect or the notoriety that Suzanne Summers did. Anyway, the reason why the show was controversial was because of the fact that you had John Ritter, who of course played a guy named Jack Tripper, was an appropriate name for him because he used to trip over everything, like Dick Van Dyke did in his classic TV show, The Dick Van Dyke Show. He used to do a lot of physical. John Ritter did a lot of physical comedy. He used to trip over everything. Actually, the first show was that Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers, who played Janet and Chrissy, who lived together in this apartment, and with Norman Fell as their landlord. And they noticed that after overnight they had a lot of party. They had a guy in the bathtub who would be Jack Tripper, and by the end of the episode he decides to live with them as a third roommate. And of course, how he got to stay in the apartment with one single guy and two girls was the fact that he pretended to be a homosexual for the landlord. Because the girls knew that if the landlord found out that he was a heterosexual, they wouldn't let him stay with the two girls. The landlord, Mr. Roper, played by Norman Fell, was not going to let him stay in the apartment with the two girls, knowing that it could be like a lower three-way sex deal, or menage a trois in the apartment. So he says, so they came up with the idea of Jack pretending to be gay. And of course, you had. And now, this show was made in 2016 instead of 40 years ago in 1976. There was no way in hell you're going to get away with all the sex joke or the gay jokes you had on Three's Company. Because you had the thing with Norman Fell going like this, going to Tinkerbell. He's landed by Tinkerbell, and you had all those types of all those types of comments, and all those types of gay joke stuff. Which of course today that Three's Company won't even get away with making those types of jokes today because those types of jokes are now so politically incorrect, and with the liberal media that we have and the liberal networks that we have, I'm not saying they weren't liberal back then, but it's worse now in terms of the political correctness and all that other crap. And it will get worse if Hillary Clinton gets elected. Just saying. With the PC police. So of course he had all those gay jokes, and of course, not only did he have all those gay jokes, but also he have good chemistry between the landlords, the Ropers, Andrea Lordy or whatever, I forgot that pronouncing the last name, and Norman Fell. He had great chemistry between the two of them. And after about I think after 3 years, 2.5, 3 years, they decided to, hey, these two characters are good together, they're going on screen together, let's give them a spin-off. So, I said, and Three's Company was one of the highest rated, it wasn't the highest rated show, but it was one, I think, in the top 10, the top 15 shows. So they decided to give, and it was at the time we had 3 networks then. So let's give them a spin-off, and the spin-off was, of course, appropriately titled The Ropers, and it didn't even last a year and a half. That show was just terrible, and that's the speaking of that show, the better. But you can occasionally catch reruns of The Ropers on TV somewhere, or maybe it's on YouTube. But the show was just, if they had to make a list of the worst spin-offs, that'd be one of them. That's how bad The Ropers were. So when they rolled out The Ropers, they brought in, the producers brought in Don Knotts to take the place of The Ropers, and he also brought in a little physical comedy there as well. And he also brought the fact that Jack was supposed to be gay, or his character was supposed to be heterosexual, but he also would not allow Jack to stay there if he was a heterosexual man. So he pretended to be gay kept up the premise of pretending to be gay for Don Knotts, which was absolutely ridiculous. Excuse me. And it was ridiculous to keep up that premise. Excuse me. Damn. And I'm going to get comments on this. People calling me Donald Trump for sniffling like this. I'm sorry. Sorry about all that. I think that it's ridiculous for them to keep up the premise of him being gay, or pretending to be gay. Because I think that because I thought that as soon, watching the reruns of the show, I thought that they're going to get rid of the pretending to be gay premise as soon as the Ropers were written out of the show. But unfortunately, they kept up the premise all the way until in the last original episode of Three's Company, which was when Janet got married, and she moved out, Jack moved out to his girlfriend, which eventually became the spin-off for Three's a Crowd. And the third girl, she also left. The one who played Suzanne Summers on the show, which I'm also going to get into. I'm going to get into that in a minute. She also decided to leave, and they shut the lights off in the apartment, and that's it. And you see the big flash on the screens of Three's a Crowd about Jack, which is another god-awful spin-off, which also lasted about maybe 6 months, if that. But Jack moving in with his girlfriend, and the girlfriend's father being hassling him. Instead of marrying the daughter who was giving him crap all the time. That was the premise of Three's a Crowd, and thankfully that show didn't last very long. And unfortunately, God love him, John Miller was a great talent, and he's sorely missed. Now we're getting to the big controversy with Suzanne Summers. Now Suzanne Summers was, of course, the one, other than John Miller, she was the one that actually drew the crowds, especially the young pre-puberty boys who will watch her because Suzanne Summers is hot. I'm not saying that she wasn't hot, but the problem was that she was not getting paid enough as John Miller was, because John Miller got top billing. And Suzanne Summers, of the 3 main characters, she was at the bottom. Not just on the credits, but also on the opening credits of the show, but also because of pay rate. Because John Miller got the most, and of course Tracy Ray got the second most, and she was down the bottom. And of course she wanted her fair share of the money. So it's like, hey, when can I get a pay raise? And of course, That caused a feud between the three main characters, about the three actors. It caused a rift between the three of them. And it got to a point where actually they banned Suzanne Summers from the actual set, because that's how because she pissed off because John Miller got pissed off at her for demanding too much, because the way that she was demanding money, they were afraid, or the other actors were afraid they were going to cancel the show because of her constant demands for a pay raise. So what happened was that they filmed her at a completely different soundstage on the phone, and then they edited in a scene with either John Miller or Joyce DeWitt talking to Suzanne Summers on the phone. That's why they did that for a few episodes, and then they eventually wrote Suzanne Summers out altogether. And that was like a huge controversy on the show. And unfortunately, Suzanne Summers never came back to Three's Company, even for the final episode, when like I mentioned earlier, when Joyce DeWitt got married. It was the last episode of the series, and they didn't bring Suzanne Summers back for that episode, or they didn't bring her back to do an episode of Three's a Crowd. She didn't come back for that either. So they really ticked off them for years and years and years, and then just around the time where John Miller had died, or he just died of a heart attack, that's when they kind of made up a little bit, and then John Miller unfortunately passed away of a heart attack. And of course, that's when, at that time, Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers ended their little feud and got together and did a couple of 2 or 3 interviews on Today's Show, Good Morning America, or something. But unfortunately, I think the tension is still kind of there. Unfortunately, but I think that little feud there was pretty much settled. But as in terms of the show itself, it's still a watchable show, even though it's the show back in the late 70s and early 80s. It's still a watchable show. It's still like watching for Joyce DeWitt and because both of them were hot. I thought that Joyce DeWitt was just as hot and hotter than Suzanne Summers. I know I'm going to get blasted for that, because I remember there was one particular episode where you saw Joyce DeWitt in a bikini. There was an episode where Chrissy, Suzanne Summers' character, was into filming or making movies or something, and Joyce DeWitt came out wearing a bikini. And it was the only time she ever saw her in a bikini on the show, even though there was times during opening credits when you see her wearing shorts and showing off those great legs. I mean, Joyce DeWitt did have great legs, and she was hot. And when anybody says Joyce DeWitt was hot, she's really gotten credit for being a hottie on that show. Same thing with Suzanne Summers. During opening credits, she was in a one-piece, not even a bikini, but a one-piece bathing swimsuit, sunbathing on the patio during the opening credits of Three's Company. And you never saw her in bikini. You always will see Suzanne Summers a lot of the times wearing the short negligees, and that was it. You didn't see her wearing anything else on the show. But there was another episode where when the girl who replaced Suzanne Summers on the show, you saw her once in a bikini. And not bad either. But there's all the talk about sexual exploitation from Three's Company because of the skimpy outfits that Suzanne Summers wore, or the short shorts that both Suzanne Summers and Joyce DeWitt wore on the show. I mean, if you really want to be exploitation of the 2 women characters, they will put them in bikinis more often than they should. Except maybe the one token time. But as the show itself, it's still a watchable show, especially the early years when you had, with the Ropers in there. Of course, previously I mentioned the controversy with Jack Tripper pretending to be gay so he could live with the 2 girls. Well, one thing I failed to mention was in the final episode of the show, where Jack told Mr. Furley, Don Knotts' character, who's now, like I said earlier, was now the landlord of the building, told him that he's going to move in with his girlfriend. And he said, you mean you could? Which of course got a big laugh. And Jack told Don Knotts that, hey, Mr. Furley, I have to tell you, I was never gay to begin with. I was pretending to be gay to stay in the apartment. And Don Knotts, Mr. Furley, he did not believe it for a second. He thought that he was, that he, Mr. Furley, cured Jack Tripper of being gay. Of course, which is a comment or a topic that was controversial then, still kind of not as controversial. It also could be controversial today too. The show was made in 2016 instead of maybe 1976 or 77. But like I said, the show is still good, still entertaining to me, and it's still. And the thing about the show like Three's Company, I like the sitcoms of today in 2016, is that show was good, still watchable, and also not only that, but also had a great theme song, which of course. How many theme songs can you mention of a television show today? There's none. Not one show has a theme song today, except maybe Going On and Go Dunham, that Dunham thing. But like I said, Three's Company is still one of the most watchable, most popular shows, even to this day. Well, thanks for watching video or my review of the show Three's Company. Please click on the video, please rate it. Feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video on your Facebook pages. You can check out all of my videos not only on my YouTube channel, but also at valleyc.com. That's all WDY.com. There's a homepage of the Valley Reviewer, Chris Lee Moore. Please check out all of his videos on his website, including, of course, his TV trash videos. Please, and also check out all of his other content as well. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.